Hi, I'm Peter,
And I'm Andrew.
and this is a little bit about our adoption journey on this National Adoption Week. I suppose in terms of us knowing that adoption was right for us, I mean, this is from the people that said,
We were never going to get married. We were never going to have kids. We did both.
Yeah, did both of those things. But I think when it came to talking about kids, we did speak through all the different kind of options, surrogacy and, everything else. But I think we both were quite passionate about adoption, and that seemed to be what we seemed to keep circling back to.
Definitely.
Wasn't it? So I think it was when you get to a stage that you know that you want to be parents, having that discussion, especially as a same-sex couple, about how you go about that. But I think, for us it was circling back round, I think, to what we already knew deep down individually and as a couple, which was, I think, that adoption was...
Definitely, and I think we also thought about, taking a child out of the care system, and that actually became really important to us as well. So that's how we came to it. I think we did lots of research, don't you?
Yeah, I think because we are both quite like that as people about anything, when we commit to something, we like to know that we're doing it right, or that we know what we're doing. So I think when it came to research, I mean, there's so much information to read, so it's about finding the things that I think are useful for you. For us, it was about, I think, understanding the difference between a voluntary agency and going through a local authority.
Yeah.
And then for us, it was about finding the right adoption agency, which is, I think, when we decided not to go down the authority route and to go with an adoption agency. And then it was finding the right one, which is quite a hard task because it's so important and life-changing, you want to know that you've got it right and that you've got the support of the right people behind you. So
and there are so many out there as well, so it's really important to pick the right one for you that's going to kind of support you and your whole ethos on this journey as well. So yeah.
Reservations about adopting.
I wouldn't use the word reservations, I don't think, would you?
I don't think there were reservations. I think there were moments. I remember us sending the forms off and being like, "So we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
We're definitely sure that we want to do this." I think you're just apprehensive, but I mean a different kind of apprehension than if you're having your own biological children. But I think it's still, there's a little nervousness of going, can we do this?
Yeah. But because we'd made that decision, we weren't particularly scared. We were definitely just a bit apprehensive about it, I would say.
Yeah, it is. I suppose it's the fear of the unknown, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You can only read and research so much.
Yeah.
I think it's just then throwing yourself in head first and seeing what the ride's going to be like. Yeah. I don't know that there is an ideal scenario in adoption. I think some of the toughest parts, I think, of the process for me were reading the real life stories of the children that needed forever homes. I think you try and prepare yourself mentally for that as much as you can, but I think the reality of reading real life stories sometimes brings it all home a little bit, so I think that would be one for me.
I don't know if I went to it with hopes of certain things, but I think when you start on this process, that goes totally out the window, and you just have to go with it and ride it, really.
Yeah.
I think initially we were pretty open-minded, weren't we? We didn't... I don't know, I think as we got further and further down the process, we definitely kind of narrowed what we wanted, but initially we had quite a open mind to it, I think. Do you?
Yeah, I think we kind of went into it and we started off discussing the idea of sibling groups and the idea of it being more the merrier, and then you get a bit passionate and go, okay, but what is manageable for us? And I suppose that would be one piece of advice from me is working out your boundaries and what might be manageable. Yes, I think that was...
Yeah, we definitely initially said, yeah, we want sibling groups, we want loads, but we just, as you do the research and you do the work, it does become apparent about what you can manage. I think that's...
Yeah, and I think if we're quite honest, I think the further we went down the process, selfishly you want to experience being a parent with a younger child.
Yeah.
And I think we adapted to that kind of idea, and I think we were open to that more we went through the process. And at the time when we were adopting, there were certainly a lot of younger children that were in the system as well as the older groups. So
yeah, at that time there were a lot more than usual, I think.
Yeah.
So we were lucky in that way.
Yeah. What challenges did we face? I think, well, for me it kind of falls into two camps. I think there are the challenges that are just part of the process anyway, from things like I remember the home visit being quite scary, where they come around and check your home to make sure it's suitable.
I would say there's like a panel and then a post, isn't there? So, everything up to pre-panel where people come to your house, that it can be quite intrusive. They do look into your fridge. Yeah. And to see that, hygiene's in order, they kind of measure between your spindles on your stairs. And all that can be quite overwhelming, I think.
I think you just feel really under the microscope.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's easy to forget why they're doing these things, but at the time it can feel a little intrusive, but ultimately, it's about the safety of the children coming into your homes. I think the other challenge is, which is the flip side for me, is the pressure that you put on yourself, or I think as a same-sex couple, you sometimes feel a little bit more judged, maybe than others that might be going through the process. I think for me it's a bit of a two-edged. There's the official stuff, but then there's the stuff that you put on as individuals, but as a couple as well.
Yeah. Well, we were very, very lucky. So it was just over a year from us sending the papers in to bringing our child home. So it's very, very quick for us. We were I think we sent off the forms in maybe September, October.
Yeah.
And we brought our little one home the February the year after.
Yeah, so approval really was almost a year, isn't it? From starting to getting the approval, and then it was matching, which everyone prepares you can be quite a long process. I think for us it was...
Matching for us was really short.
It was about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6 weeks and we knew. And I don't think, again, coming back to one of the other questions, I don't think we'd prepared ourselves for it to be that quick, because everyone says, it might take a little bit of time, it won't be a quick thing, but for us it was really.
Yeah, it snowballed at the end, didn't it?
Yeah, so over a year to get approved, and then that little bit of preparing, and then we got delayed, didn't we, because it was Christmas. As eager as we were, it was about finding the right time for him.
Yeah. Very positive on the whole, definitely, wasn't it?
Yeah, we'd done, coming back to just I think how we are as a couple, we'd done lots of research about whether or not we wanted to go through a local authority versus an adoption agency, and we felt the adoption agency route was the right one for us, and then for us it became more a case of doing the research and finding the right organisation for us. And I think what we liked about Adoption Matters is kind of their ethos. I remember the support that they give you throughout the whole process, and after the adoption was quite a big thing for us.
Yeah, definitely. We really liked their whole ethos, basically, and because we'd done a lot of research on other agencies as well, and we just kept on coming back to Adoption Matters, didn't we? Yeah. And it just felt right. It's just a feeling you get, isn't it? You can't really describe it.
Yeah, I think I suppose that'd be a piece of advice for me, follow your gut. Yeah. Because I think if you do that, you're making the right decisions. And I'd say that throughout the whole process, follow your gut.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, in terms of still having a relationship with Adoption Matters. We absolutely do and want to continue to do. For us, our adoption fell at a bit of a strange time because we adopted a few weeks before lockdown and COVID became a thing. So it wasn't it wasn't quite the introduction to being parents that I think we were expecting. So we did do a few things on Zoom during that time.
Yeah. But obviously we couldn't draw on any kind of in-person support, which was a shame. But since we've come out the other side of lockdowns, we now do their social events, and it's really good for our child to, see other adopted children and other adopted families together. I think that really is helping him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for us it's about normalising being adopted, and for him, whether that being going to school or something like that, not feeling that he's the only one. And I think just going to be around other families and children that know what it's like, to experience that, I think for us as parents, as much as it is for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so we had 2 weeks where it was just the three of us, and then we slowly introduced him to our families, and we would meet on kind of neutral ground, out of our house, kind of out and about, really gradually, which went really well. And then after 2 weeks of that, lockdown hit. So we had a very, very intense first few months together, which was amazing, and bonding wise, we couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah.
It turns out.
Not quite the paternity leave you'd planned though.
Not quite.
But he settled in really well, and I think again this comes back to an early question about the pressure that you put on yourselves. I certainly know for a period we didn't sleep because any noise in the house, we were instantly at the baby monitor going, is he still alive? What's happening? So I think he settled fine. I think it took us a little period of adjustment, as we got used to being parents and having the responsibility that comes with that. But in terms of him settling, he settled really well.
He did.
And especially, as Andrew said, in the unusual circumstances of not being able to do the regular baby classes and all of the other things that you'd normally do. Yeah. So we had to get inventive with things around the house.
We definitely did.
Amazon became our best friend.
Post-its on the floor is my biggest tip.
I would say if you are serious about adoption, just really do loads of research. If there's something else niggling away at the back of your mind that maybe we should do or maybe we could do, I think you need to explore that and rule that out first. I think you need to, and go to the information evenings. That's what we did before making any commitments. So you can really hear about it, and we went armed with a list of questions. So
yeah, I would say definitely it's a go with your gut situation, isn't it? And do as much research as you can before you get to that point, because once you start the process, it is quite consuming. So you have to be completely ready for it. But also the agency help you with that. They make sure that you are ready, and the social workers will talk to you about, how you're finding it and if you're ready for this stage, if you're ready for the next stage. So it definitely helps to have their support there as well then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think my last piece of advice would be, it's so worth it. It's really not an easy process at times, and there are times when you question it, but actually when your little person or family move in with you, it suddenly just all falls into place and is totally worth it. So I think that'd be the biggest thing for me. It's not easy, but it's really, really worth it.
Yeah, it's not easy, but for all the hard times when you are that family, it all pales into complete insignificance, doesn't it?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough question.
That is a tough one.
Things you should be prepared for emotionally. I think the process, as we've hinted or touched on a couple of times, isn't the easiest. It feels like you've got two full-time jobs at times, because you've got your normal job during the day, and then you're at home doing paperwork at night, or you're
we used to say
reading.
it was like doing our A-levels again, didn't we, all
Yeah.
the time. There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of reading and a lot of meetings, which is great, and it obviously is all part of the process. But it can take its toll emotionally, I think, and it does at different stages within the process. But you just have to take a step back and, you know, remember that the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah, and I think it makes you stronger as a couple.
Definitely.
And reaffirms why you're wanting to do it in the first place. I think the other thing in terms of emotion is, I suppose, more obvious things like the first time you meet your little person or people. There's just really, you know, strong feelings that obviously you don't want to show to them, and our little boy was so little, he was only a baby, but just an instant connection and a love for somebody that you've just met in a millisecond.
It's totally unexpected as well, isn't it?
And I think probably when you bring them home forever and you set about becoming a forever family and a forever home, and I think that once you start that journey, it just feels like the end of the adoption chapter there, but your next chapter as a family.
Definitely.
So
I don't think the process in itself is any different, but I think for us, looking back to when we did it, I think we probably felt that we were maybe under a bit of a microscope a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's the pressure that you
More
put on
on
yourself,
us.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you worry about being judged for being a same-sex couple, or what people are going to think of you when you're out and about with a pram, or those sorts of things. So I think it's more the things that you put on yourself rather than actually the process being any different. And I think what we've learned throughout it, and kind of out of it really, is just how many same-sex couples, or, you know, people from the LGBTQ plus community who've even done this journey on their own, is how many people are out there from this community that have also gone down the same route. And it's been great actually being able to meet other couples or individuals that have gone through it, that not only can we share the fact that we've gone through the adoption process, but actually that they've also got that in common with the other children. And there again are loads of kind of groups out there for the LGBTQ plus kind of communities and parenting, that again it's great for us to be able to be a part of that as
and
well.
again it's also great for us to have that connection, but also great for the kids as well, to see other LGBTQ parents out there as well.
I think, well, our family and friends are such an important part of our lives, but even more so throughout this, from the moment we said that we wanted to become parents, through all the highs and lows of the adoption process.
They were with us utterly and completely throughout the whole process. They lived and breathed it with us, didn't they? And then when, you know, we took our little one home, obviously COVID did get in the way, but thank goodness for FaceTime. Zoom, Zoom birthday parties, we did the works, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we still managed to create that bond by doing that kind of things. And then obviously when, you know, lockdown's finished, we made sure that we kind of spent quite a lot of time with family and with friends as well. And they've been a huge support to this day, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think for us actually it was almost like a period of two introductions. There was the one before COVID, and then everything else since. But it's, from my perspective, our perspective, I think it's just been great to see him finally building the relationships that you would have wanted to have been a bit earlier. But yeah, I suppose it's now for them properly to be able to be part of our lives and our family that we had intended, but actually now seeing that happening is amazing.